Ladies and gentlemen of the public, board members, we are ready to return to open session. And the first order of business is to pledge allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, to the republic, one nation, God, for peace and justice. Could we have a motion, please, to approve the agenda?
So moved.
And a second, please. Any questions, comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Okay, input from the public regarding items not on open session agenda. Micah, I believe this is your spot. Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
Sure. Are you okay waiting?
Yeah.
Okay, great. No worries. Okay, so that will come back to consent calendar. Do we have, what did I miss? I'm sorry. Yes, please.
Thank you, Jenny. Interest level in resurfacing or fixing the tennis courts at the Laguna High here and is very high. I've been collecting signatures at the court for a while, and I thought it had kind of petered out and that I'd gotten everybody. But recently, we've gotten like pages more of people who are really excited and interested in seeing the courts maintained for the community and for the school. So I really am just strongly in support of you guys moving forward with that as soon as possible. Sounds like there's good progress with Mr. Adams, and hope he doesn't retire and that we can move forward with that. But I really appreciate your time investigating and making this thing come to fruition. If there's anything I can do to help around the community to make it happen, I'd be more than willing to do that. And I just wanted to, again, thank you guys, and looking really forward to getting out there and playing, but probably going to be after the rainy season, it sounds like, but that'll be okay. We'll stay in shape, and we'll be ready to come back when the courts are done. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Okay.
I support that idea. I've lived in Forestville for since 1977, and I played tennis that whole time, and I hope to continue playing tennis, but on better courts because the courts are, falling apart, and so I support the notion of redoing the courts, and hope that you guys can do it for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, consent calendar. Do we have a motion, please, to approve the consent calendar?
So moved.
Thank you. A second.
Second.
Jeannie? Any questions or comments about what's on consent? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you. Action on items heard in closed.
No action was taken in closed session.
Okay, we're on to reports. Student board reports, please. Give us your perspective.
Hello. Oh, that was loud. Good evening, everyone. My name is Taylor Banks, and I'm here as the AIA board representative. Thank you all for having me. I'm here to talk about some of the amazing things we have been doing at our brand new high school. I would like to talk about our innovative arts program. We have been working on restoring an old golf cart and have made a food locker for the Bullfrog Pond campground. Many kids have also been working on 3D printing, woodworking, and restoring the old greenhouse that is on campus. I also want to talk about our advisory program. This is something that has been helpful for new students to start off the year. Advisory is a time when we can check in with our teachers and get some extra help if we need it. We use this time to talk one-on-one about how we are doing overall, not just in our classes, but with our workload, stress, and goals. It's a chance to figure out what's working and what we can do better, and make a plan to improve. If we are all caught up, we get to pick something new we want to learn about or explore. We have an up-and-coming preview night called Spooktacular. This will take place on Wednesday, the 22nd. It includes a brief presentation about our school and a guided tour. And there will be activities in the makerspace. Some of the upcoming things that we are looking forward to is the homecoming dance and the new sports season. There are a number of students who are very involved in sports, including myself. I'm excited to wrap up the end of my flag football and start wrestling for the first time along with my peers. The week of October 27th through the 31st will be our first Spirit Week. Monday will be Pajama Day. Tuesday will be Dress as Your Type Day. Wednesday will be Decades Day, 80s, 90s, 2000s, etc. And Thursday will be Twin Day. And finally, Friday, which will be Halloween costumes. Thank you all for your time.
Thank you, Taylor. Taylor, on the 22nd, when you have the open house, what time is that? Is it like during the day or in the evening?
Okay, 5 to 6.
Very good.
Start from here.
No, not.
Okay. At Anley, we have on Monday, we have a flag football game. We have float night on Thursday night, which is where students will decorate like golf carts as floats. On Friday, there's a home game versus St. Vincent. And also a homecoming dance, like Taylor mentioned, is on Saturday. And on October 31st, Halloween, we're having a trunk or treat where the houses are going to be decorating different cars, and the house that gets the best decorated trunk will get rewards. And it's good for, it's also senior night that night, so it'll be good to include families and in on that fun. So yeah, that's all we have.
Thank you, Jonah. All right, association reports. Julie, Lily, Julie, no, Lily, Brian, please.
All right. Well, hello, everybody. My name is Brian Miller, math teacher at Amley High School, lead negotiator of the West Sonoma County Teachers Union. And I'm giving the address because today is the when we put the sunshine letters into the board packet. So I always come here to say that I look forward to positive negotiations that we've certainly achieved over the last I don't know, a few years now. It's been a nice run, nice, good environment. We'll be looking for a lot of the same. You know, at the top will always be a fair wage increase. The union always looks at the unaudited actuals as the lens that dictates what does a fair wage increase mean. And one of the things that, you know, we wanted to kind of highlight is that we look at our priorities in our district, the financials in our district, because with what's happening in Santa Rosa, there's a lot of districts around the county who are kind of reacting to that as if that's in their own district. And so just wanted to point out a few things. I mean, in Santa Rosa, since 2021, their services line item has increased 51%. That's in 5 years. It's almost $20 million increase in the city of Santa Rosa. In the same time, our services line item has increased 12%, which is only $700,000. So it says a lot for the people in our district who are invested in those ideas of controlling the costs of that particular item that we raised the strike year. I mean, all these people, you know, obviously the superintendent, the CBO, you know, the people are putting in time, Laura Schmidt, to make sure that that line item does not do that for us, is clearly paying off. And so, you know, just wanted to kind of surface that idea. And there's a lot that we're excited about. You know, the schools are exciting. There's a lot of positive energy. I think the enrollment projections kind of highlight a lot of the good things we're doing are having an impact. So, yeah, we're looking at that. There's things with stipends, there's things with healthcare, there's things around hard caps that we have brought to the table before, class sizes, you know, making sure that we have equity in our tutorial program about situations, different protections around our work product as it relates to AI, other outside contractors. There's a lot of ideas there that we would like to bring to the table, and we're kind of excited to do that. Things around reopening leaves is one of the articles that we're opening because we're interested specifically in looking at ways to improve our maternity offerings and improving the equity in that situation and making it more beneficial and better for recruiting and retainment. So we're going to look to see if there's ways that we can improve our offerings as far as maternity is concerned as well. And of course, reviewing all, you know, current MOUs and things of that nature. So either way, it's broad strokes, but just happy to start negotiations again. And we're looking forward to continue to improve this wonderful district. So thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Principals. Chuck, Craig?
I'll do my best. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me?
Can you hear me? Can you guys hear me? Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Greg, can you talk?
Yes.
There? Good.
Awesome. Well, good evening, everybody. And I'm going to start off talking about Laguna a little bit. And we just concluded our first grading period of the year in late September. And I have to say, I think in my 4 years here, this has been the smoothest start to a school year that we've had. So I do want to give a number of shout outs to some really, really creative work that our staff has been doing throughout this first 7 weeks of school. We've had 2 FAFSA parent workshops. So we're getting an early jump start on the California graduation requirement there, getting kiddos set up with their accounts and getting parents involved in that process. Mr. Shaw has been doing some really amazing work. Is part of our advisory program doing some different elective work, and he's had this gardening elective. And what he's been able to do in short 40-minute periods is really amazing. So we've got a bunch of new planted planter boxes in the quad, varying levels and sizes of trees. We do have one with a gopher that got the new plants, so we'll revisit that. Miss Malone's been super active, taking her class down to the makerspace. Marty Marfin, who's down in the makerspace, has been just an absolute incredible asset to this campus. Really cool that our teachers and students can go down there and be supported down there. And we have somebody there with the working knowledge. Miss Malone also started a new photography unit and brought in a guest speaker, and the guest speaker is actually a photographer for National Geographic. So he was showing off some very cool photos and techniques. Miss Max had her students working on tons of different projects, kind of crocheting and sewing, things like that. But I did ask her, I came across this stat the other day, and I asked her, we give out what's called a Rhino Bucks for positive interactions on campus, things of that nature. Miss Mack hands them out for completed books. And I just wanted to bring this up because I came across this stat the other day, and the stat's actually from a few years ago. So I think the number's probably higher. But the Writing Cooperative said that 33% of high school graduates will never complete a book after graduation. Made me think of Miss Mack and how she is so good at getting kiddos to develop a passion for reading and find what they like to read. So very cool stuff there. Mr. Myers, I just am so appreciative of him and the jack of all trades, and is just watching him work with our students is just an absolute pleasure. Miss Lowy has been holding a lot of our IGP meetings, our individual grad plan meetings. So between her and I, we are down to, I think, 2 seniors left to have our individual family meetings. So we're rocking and rolling there, which has been good. Coming up in October, we are going to be hosting a team who's coming to evaluate our school. We are up for a Model Continuation School Award visit. So we have 2 principals coming to evaluate what we do. And I know some of you were on some panels and things like that for that, so I appreciate that. But we're, really looking forward to it. It's very similar to a WASC visit. And so just the value in having other people come in and take a look at our programming and what we're doing is really, really, really good stuff. We have a handful of SRJC field trips coming up. We have a couple of kind of slight changes in how we're doing them this year. We have decided now that we have the school van, we're going to be taking much smaller trips, much more personalized trips, trying to group 5 to 6 students who interested in similar areas, need to meet with certain departments. So we're organizing our JC trips that way. And then lastly, we had our student showcase night. Some of the work our students have done is still out. So that was a super successful night as well. On the academy side of things, lots of exciting things shaping out. This month, we welcome some visitors from Shanghai and Denmark through the kind of the Maker Faire initiative. A bunch of folks were in town for the Maker Faire in Vallejo. And so we had some folks make their way to our campus to check out what we're doing. Had a really, really neat presentation from the visitors from Shanghai, looking at some really, really cutting edge AI tools that they use, and tools that they use like in live time. So really unique stuff there. And our visitors from Denmark have some really valuable conversations there around their approach with hands-on learning, and they have a model called playful learning. And it's really kind of this intersection of curiosity, ownership, and enjoyment. And it's like the model is like a 3-circle Venn diagram, but kind of the general idea, like no matter where you start, you're working your way through those 3 stages. And so some interesting stuff there and pretty valuable. And we're collaborating further to see how we can, collaborate with our schools in the future. And then the last thing, Taylor talked a little bit about advisory, but I just wanted to share some of the things that we have going on in terms of, if you've been walking around and seeing some posters on the wall, one of the things we're doing this year is we're doing some competency-based grading as well. And so we have, we're doing kind of a combo of both the traditional and the competencies. And our competencies are effective communication, empirical reasoning, quantitative reasoning, interpersonal and intrapersonal intelligence, learning skills, and making ability. And you can think about those as the subjects. So like effective communication is English, empirical reasoning science, quantitative math, right? And so the idea is it's somewhat similar, I would say, to standards-based grading. Just to give you an example, like we have a list of competencies that we've broken down by subject, by grade level, and matched to state standards. So effective communication, for example, is one is how have I initiated and participate in rich collaborative discussion? And so students are really rated is a poor term, but on 4 levels: emerging, exploring, engaged, and empowered. And part of that advisory process in those one-on-one meetings is that collaboration piece between the teacher and the student, and looking at really the idea of growth. So with the first quarter coming up, we're excited to really kind of roll out the first iteration as we send home first quarter grades with this competency-based transcript or grade report as well. Other than that, I just want a couple thank yous. Annalee High School, Homecoming, Jared Brown, and the rest of the ASB squad. We know how much work that is, and we appreciate being involved and invited. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Greg. It's super helpful for us on the board to hear this kind of stuff because, you know, we get anecdotes and we get what happened, but it's so helpful to hear the thinking behind it. So thank you. It's really useful. Chuck.
Chuck Wade, Principal, Annalee High School. October has already been a lively and festive month at Annalee. Last week we had a celebration for Hispanic Heritage Month with events on the quad that invited students to share reflections on their heritage and earn a little candy for that. Celebration also featured a really lovely performance by the Ballet Folklorico from Parkside School. And those students later participated in a reciprocal lesson exchange with Miss Johnson's dance team students. Thanks go to Louis Morastrada for coordinating the events and ensuring the Parkside students, including her daughter, could join us on campus. It was fun. This fall, the admin team tried a little bit of a new approach to introducing the student handbook. Rather than visiting English classrooms individually, Christy, Gianna, Kirsten, and myself met with each grade level in the theater during tutorial. The format allowed us to present the expectations, highlight student supports, and have at least a little bit of an open dialogue, something we really want to do more of. But I bring it up because the number one topic students wanted to talk about, open campus. Thought you guys might want to have that on your radar. It's you know, area of high interest for many on campus. On a related note, Gianna's taken the lead in maintaining visibility and safety during brunch and lunch, and she spends most of those periods at Safeway, actually, at the start of the year, really trying to help set expectations for off-campus behavior, especially among our younger students. Her efforts combined with the work of our amazing campus supervisor team, David, Stacy, Thomas, and Amy, have made a noticeable impact in maintaining positive and safe school climate, even if it has stretched our small admin team. On one end of the transition spectrum, we continue to strengthen our early college credit opportunities. This work is a super high priority for us as we work to ensure every Annalee student graduates with clear and achievable post-secondary plans. Annalee's work here is gaining countywide recognition. Earlier this month, Chris and I attended the College and Career Access Pathways Forum at SRJC, where much of the content was actually presented by our own Heidi Mickelson. Heidi's presentation walked participants through the systems we've developed to host college courses on our campus. It's in a model now being studied by other districts. One particularly impressive data point highlighted in the forum, actually in a subsequent presentation by somebody else. In 23-24, 9 students from Annalee High School earned college credit through internships. This year, over 100 students are on track to do so. For comparison, the next highest number reported by any other school in the county is going to end up being between 10 and 20, and that's from an alternative campus focused on internships. Also at the event, Heidi, as well as Jim Baptista, May Ebach, Stacy Fortin, Marin Powers, Courtney King, were all recognized really for their pioneering work in building and expanding early college credit at the high school level. At the other end of the transition spectrum, we're deepening our work to redesign the 9th grade experience. Over the past month or so, we've hosted a series of opt-in professional development sessions to introduce and gather feedback on 3 different models of team teaching that are used in schools across the country. They create smaller learning communities within the larger school and help teachers collaborate around shared groups of students. Given that Annalee draws from more feeder schools than any other high school in Sonoma County, our incoming students arrive with an extraordinary range of backgrounds and preparation levels. Research shows that many of the challenges students face in the 9th grade stem less from the academic content they encounter in high school than from the sheer organizational demands of the new environment. They have to manage, 7 classes, 7 teachers, 7 ways to put a heading on the page, 7 ways to turn stuff in. And it's overwhelming for some of our students. So we think, we know that those transitions can lead to dips in attendance, engagement, and achievement. And this is magnified, obviously, for students situated farthest from opportunity. So our goal is to design structures that maintain high expectations at Annalee while making those expectations accessible to all of our students. Collaboration, common classroom practices, shared understanding of students' strengths and needs are the key to that work. More than 60 teachers attended those recent sessions. We received over 75 sort of discrete, thoughtful questions. We've compiled those and trying to address, legitimate concerns and anxieties that folks are raising. So we're working hard to do that. We're also sending a team to meet with a group that works with folks from San Diego County who have implemented similar programs. There's a group from Sonoma County, other high schools as well, working on that. So we have a team attending monthly meetings with them to learn about best practices for 9th grade, keeping students on track. Yesterday, we held a design meeting featuring insights from our Words and Wonders, 9th grade cohort teachers, Ari and Blake. They shared what's working, what's not working in their pilot this year, and their feedback too will directly inform the next iteration of what 9th grade looks like. So the work we're doing this fall reflects a deliberate focus on both the entry and exit points at Annalee, helping students begin high school with a strong foundation, leave it with meaningful options. Whether through our 9th grade redesign or expanding early college credit, we're continuing to refine systems that make Annalee a place where students can navigate high expectations, find support, and move confidently toward what comes next.
Wow. Thank you, Chuck. This is great. Inspiring.
Chuck, I have a question. Sorry, when is showcase night?
Showcase night 23rd, I want to say. Hang on. October 23rd.
Okay, I actually have it on here. Great, thank you.
Yeah, please come.
Thanks, Chuck.
Yeah, they'll be there.
Wow. Board member reports. Rio,
None to this time.
Linda.
Boy, do I have stuff. Uh, First, I was talking to my girlfriend who works down in the cafeteria this afternoon, and she told me in an unbelievable number, more meals were served in September. 2,000? Was that it? This year. The cafeteria staff served 2,000 more meals in this last month than they did last year. Working shorthanded. I really want to put a big pat on the back to those ladies down there. That's incredible work. And the food they're turning out is super. And I appreciate it. I stopped in and they were working their little tushies off. So good on you guys. Yeah. The other thing is I wanted to mention the Anley Athletic Hall of Fame is coming up the end of October. At the football game, the 31st, we will be introducing our next group of inductees. Herb Dower, if any of you were around in the good old days of Press Democrat, Herb Dower is being inducted. Dan Healy, who was a basketball player in 1975. Ted Deal, who is assigned to the UN in Geneva, Switzerland at this point. He was a football player. He was class of 84. His dad used to teach at Anley. Robert Johnson was a basketball player. He's all of like, I don't know, 6'10" or something unbelievable like that. Super tall guy. Jen Saramoto, her dad went to Anley too. She was a basketball player. And the current soccer coach, Peter Meakin, he's been there. I think this is his 32nd year as soccer coach at Anley. So our banquet is on November 1st. If anybody'd like to come, just let me know. I'll get you an invite. And we will announce those people at halftime of the football game, the varsity game on Halloween, which should be an exciting night at Halloween. And I think that's all I have. Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. John,
I don't have anything.
Jeannie.
Well, of course I do, right?
Of course you-
So today was a CSBA little gathering with some legislative updates, quite a few actually. And when I get the PowerPoint, I will send it to Jessica to send out to everybody because it has all these different bills that CSBA has either opposed or supported. And some of them have been passed and some of them have not. Some of them have been strung along. You know how that all goes. But one of the most important ones that I wanted to talk about, and I know that Dale's interested in this too, was ADA versus enrollment funding. It was originally SB 830, and that died in the legislature. Then another one was submitted, and it uniquely was named SB 98, actually to mirror our Prop 98 funding. They did that on purpose because, makes sense, right? CSBA now supports SB 98. Originally, they didn't because there was some things in it that were going to affect Prop 98. And they asked more than anything for the bill to actually go to the analyst's office to be reviewed and a report come back before any further action was taken. And the author of the bill changed the language because of CSBA, and Governor Newsom signed it. And so now it's in the legislative analysts' hands for them to review and then bring that back bring back kind of their analysis of the whole process. And they're expecting the study to come out in January of 26. Anyway, there's more information in the PowerPoint. I'll send it to you too, Dale, and probably more we can look up online and find more information. But I just kind of wanted to bring that to your attention that it is something that the legislature is looking at, which is actually really helpful, I think, for us. as long as it doesn't mess with Prop 98. One of the things they mentioned about Prop 98 was that Prop 98 is funding that was meant to not be the floor amount of what we get, but reach the ceiling, and we've never gotten more than the floor level. So the whole point is that it's really tough to increase Prop 98 funds. Actually, CSBA sued the state of California when they tried to mess with Prop 98 last time around. That lawsuit has not come to fruition yet, but there's more to be told about that too. Anyway, I just wanted to bring that information to everybody.
Awesome. Okay. I have nothing to report right now. I may say something later, but right now I'm good. And so Superintendent.
Yeah, I'd like to just start by reiterating how excited we are for the upcoming fentanyl awareness events in partnership with Micah's Hugs. Micah and Michelle are here, and Micah has a few things to say. We agreed that he could do this as part of my my superintendent's report, and I know he's going to acknowledge, is Ian here? Ian, thank you. Please. And forgive me if I mispronounce your name, Ian Huffaker? Okay, great, nailed it. Annalise student, and I know that Mike is going to speak to this, showed their courage and awareness in responding to a crisis that saved a pregnant woman at Lucky's in Santa Rosa, who was experiencing an overdose from fentanyl. And with courage and awareness, administered a dose of Narcan, which saved the woman and her baby's life. Without further ado, I'm going to kick it to Micah. And Ian, and I know that we're going to be acknowledging Ian, and he's going to be a special panelist at our community fentanyl awareness event. And we are just so very proud and thankful for your efforts.
Thank you, everybody. My name is Micah Sawyer, and I am one of the co-founders of Micah's Hugs. Micah's Hugs is an organization that my wife and I started after we lost my son to fentanyl poisoning over 6 years ago. Since then, we've been trying to do what we can in the community to help educate people and help in harm reduction and education for substance use in general. Ian is an amazing young man who exemplifies everything we've been trying to be doing in this community of educating people and getting harm reduction supplies out there for people to use. Amazingly, Ian came across a overdosing woman who was pregnant in Santa Rosa, overdosing on fentanyl. And most of the people at the situation apparently really didn't know what to do. And there's a couple of things that really came out of Ian's story that's important to us. One is the fact that Ian went into the store at the time, Lucky's, and asked if anybody had Narcan or knew about Narcan, and nobody did at the time, which really kicked off an idea in our head, which we're really been working on, which has been taking off, which was to really try to get Narcan into all local businesses so that if anything like this happens in a parking lot, on the street, in the sidewalk, somebody close by, some business has Narcan, and we're actually getting stickers on the windows that we're starting to get a lot of that on. And Ian, you were sort of a big piece of pushing that program to go forward, hearing your story about going into Lucky and them not having it. And we think that all of those sort of stores would have that. And many of them are starting to because of this. And of course, the second thing is really educating everybody in the community, and especially educating the youth in the community. And the youth in the community can go back and educate, their households and everybody else. And Ian is just such a perfect example of this working in a way where so many people at that point weren't educated, and Ian wasn't. Ian was, I'm sorry. And Ian's mom had come to one of our trainings. So when she was there, she got some Narcan from the trainings and had put the Narcan in the car, I believe. Was it in the car? Okay. Had put the Narcan in the car. And after Ian remembered that, he went to the car, got this Narcan, brought it back to the situation where he was instrumental in making sure that this pregnant woman got the dose of Narcan that she needed to save her life and bring her back. So we just really want to acknowledge you, Ian, and thank you for showing people, what we can do into the community and how we can help and how we can save people's lives. So thank you very much, and we appreciate you.
Thank you.
I just want to say that's my cousin, and I'm very proud of him.
Truly a heroic effort. I'd like to next extend a special welcome to Taylor Banks, our AIA student board rep, who was very eloquent in sharing what's going on there. And, you know, it's truly special to have a board rep for our new school. I think it's the first time that a freshman has sat up here. So we thank you for your courage and advocacy for our program and your fellow students across the district. I look forward to connecting with you to talk further about your role. And again, just wanted to welcome you. We are excited to launch our district marketing campaign. You can see that we do have our roll-up banner in addition to our infographics, and you're going to learn more about that today in a presentation that Jessica will provide for the board. The district is looking forward, as Brian mentioned, to continue our labor partnership with WSCTA as we commence negotiations with our teachers union and our processes for this year. Lastly, I have some really great news. I had an early preview into the CASP data, specifically ELA and math. I'd like to acknowledge that our scores improved. ELA increased by 5.1 points from 58.17 to 63.27, students meeting or exceeding the standard, and math increased by 13.31 points from 25.24% to 38.55%. Students who met or exceeded. Obviously, we're extremely proud of the efforts of our students and teachers for their diligent instruction and support. Big shout out to the math and ELA departments and teachers. In addition, I'd like to thank Vice Principal Kirsten Samft for her organization and hard work in coordinating our district-wide testing processes. And I can't wait to share how we fared up against other high school districts in Sonoma County. CDE didn't want me to do that tonight, but good news to come when that data is released in the coming months.
Okay, education services, we've got some public comments, but I think they might be more useful after the presentation. Yeah, so report on enrollment. Yeah, there is from Lily. I mean, in some ways, your comments might be more useful after the data, or. Okay, go ahead then. Mm-hmm.
So I might have missed it. It was a long day when I was looking through this, but when I was looking through the pie charts and the graphs and at the enrollment of our current schools programs, there were bar graphs, but there were no numbers attached to those. And the value was from 0 to 500, I believe. So it's very hard to get a sense of what that little blue line means for our 4 schools. So if we could have the hard numbers of enrollment for our 4 different programs, I think that would be great information for the public.
Great, thanks, Lily. We can probably address that. Yeah, we have the data, so.
It's in the.
Yeah. All right.
Was there someone else? You said there was another.
Not on A1. We've got comments on.
I'll go through the presentation and I'll let Jessica point the public and the board as to where to find that information. Unlike prior years where we just attached data, synthesized it, and gave you a summary, Jessica helped to prepare a beautiful presentation that really depicts all data in terms of typically this report is based on inter-district transfers, but we wanted to fold in just enrollment trends in general. So for this current year, 41 students requested an outgoing transfer request. That number actually landed to 38, you said? 32, thank you. 3 remained at Annalee, 2 were already Santa Rosa residents, 2 siblings remained in private schools, 2 siblings continued enrollment at SRCS, and 1 may be at an art school in SLO. You can see the districts in which the families chose, and I think that's compelling. And we have another slide, and I'll speak to the reasons in which these families indicated why they were leaving. So I'll let you kind of digest that a bit. This information and data is attached to the item as well. Next slide, please. Again, outgoing transfers, requested schools. The last slide showed the districts. Windsor High School, the #1 comprehensive high school that students are requesting an interdistrict transfer out of West County for. Our Quest program's changed over the years. It's not what it used to be, but Windsor does offer some specialized programs, and I'll talk about that in this slide. So reasons for outgoing transfer requests. So there's some basic boxes that families can check. Again, we use a county-wide form. What we plan to do is add an additional form that will collect some qualitative and quantitative data for us. How did you find us? Why did you choose our district? Specifically, so we can continue to, examine our educational programs and practices, but also look at the success of our marketing campaign, which we'll talk about more tonight. The specialized program, I think, that draws many students to Windsor is their core educational program. It's a core system, and it's been there for over 20 years, which students are in cohorts or houses specific to their interests. It creates smaller learning communities that allow those students to have more connections with their teachers and fellow students, as well as opportunities for the teachers to collaborate and really foster growth of those kids. So much like what Chuck is trying to do, and we'll be talking about that more throughout the year. Continued enrollment. So, some students have chosen to leave our district before high school, and sometimes we're tracking down those forms, or maybe they leave the district and then we need to do a new form in terms of interdistrict transfer approval, change in social emotional environment. Sports, they're not supposed to indicate that, but sometimes they do, so we noted the data. Other not noted, parent employment, a lot of times there's a transfer request. Hey, I work in this district, it makes sense for my kid to go to school here. And siblings, small percentage, but that specialized program we're really looking at, I think we've looked at that for students interested in non-comprehensive high schools, and you've heard me speak to that many, many times. 104 students over the course of 4 years for over $1 million in ADA, and we've addressed that obviously with our new school.
Yeah. We also get like the school that they were enrolled in for like junior high or in grade school?
Typically, if they don't include that, we know that it's a district of residence and we can kind of narrow that down. They don't typically list that school, but it may say the district. Some parents do. It just depends on the information they're putting in the document.
Did you get any trends from like that piece of it?
No, but that'd be a good trend to look at. I think that definitely something that we can do, specifically with regard to, the students attending our partner districts here in West County. Next slide, please. Now, this is a data point that we're really, really proud of. 170 interdistrict transfers incoming this year. 77.6% were approved. 12.9% canceled, 7.6% denied. As you're aware, we do have clear board policies for academic performance, discipline, and obviously, special education. We're impacted by the max caseloads of our case managers, and the board adopted resolution that we passed to set that threshold at 23%. We've done some really good work around monitoring that, and making some personnel decisions. I'll speak to that a little bit later in a different presentation. But I think that's up from 138 last year, but I have the data here. Next slide, please. Where are they coming from? Obviously, 80% from Santa Rosa City Schools. That is a number that's up a little bit this year, but that's been a trend that we've seen here in West County and specifically at Annaley High School for years. Again, we've developed an amazing comprehensive high school that's known around the county with excellent programs. We're a safe school. Families have heard about us, and we want to continue to get the word out. But you can see where the other students have come to our district from. But as Chuck said in his principal's report, and you've heard me say this, we're truly a melting pot of Sonoma County. Students come to Annaley High School from all comprehensive high school attendance boundaries throughout the county, and some from Lake and Marin. Next slide, please. Here's the reasons indicated by families why they want to come to our district. You see the highest percentage there is 30%, remain with the middle school class. As you know, Oak Grove, Twin Hills, Gravenstein have a ton of interdistrict transfers, and those students typically want to stay with their class and matriculate to us naturally, in addition to the students that hear about us through word of mouth or other friends and family and whatnot.
So they're already transfer students. They're just transferring to middle school.
Correct.
Yeah.
They want to stay with their class. You know, I don't have the numbers for Twin Hills and Gravenstein off the top of my head, but I know Oak Grove hovers around 80% of their 8th grade cohort typically comes to Annalee. I know the percentage is high for those other 2 districts I referenced as well. Next slide, please. So I believe this may have been the slide that Lily was referring to. When you take this from Canva into PowerPoint, it takes away the opportunity to hover over, but that data is included, as Jessica and
I was thinking about the next slide.
it's the next slide. Okay.
Okay. I can answer that one.
Okay. So this just shows a 3-year comparison in terms of incoming and outgoing. And I think it's pretty compelling. You know, we are, I think when I became the superintendent, we were 27% interdistrict, and I think we're 34%, something around there. So we've steadily increased enrollments and sustained enrollment. We've increased interdistrict enrollments, but have sustained enrollment because of the draw that we have. And as you've learned through our demographic studies, our resident enrollment is continually declining. So to sustain the level of services and programs that we have specifically at Annalee High School, we need to maintain that enrollment. Otherwise, we won't be able to support all of the different amazing programs and staff that we have for various student support needs. Next slide, please. All right, I'll let Jessica clarify on this question.
So okay, so for the following slide with the historic total enrollment, those numbers can be found in the attachment that's enrollment projections and student mapping update. And I guess I did not add the current enrollment, but I can share those numbers right now.
Please.
'Cause since I have it pulled up on Canvas, so the numbers are on there. So for Annalee High School, the current enrollment is 1,428. For Laguna, it's 62. And for AIA, it's 20. But I can add those numbers to the slide and re-upload it to Simply.
Those numbers are included in that enrollment. Yeah. Yeah. In overall enrollment. So West County I Academy is a fancy name hovering above 2 separate CDS codes. So they're included in Annalee's enrollment and Laguna's enrollment, right? So next slide, please. Okay, so you see some data trends here from 22 to 23 all the way to 2025 and 2026. Again, obviously those numbers don't show the specifics, but it shows you that we've stayed flat at Annalee, flat at Laguna, and obviously we were 10 short of our target enrollment of 30 maximum students, not at least 30 students, 30 max at the Academy of Innovative Arts. I will note that we had 28 within the first month of the enrollment application window open, and 6 of those families chose not to attend any public school due to vaccination beliefs, and another few families went to private school. So next slide, please. Oh, that's my last slide. Okay, Jessica, do you have anything else to add to that? I think that I'd really like to just again reemphasize the visuals in addition to all of the data that's attached. I think that was a nice touch, and I thank Jessica for putting that together for me.
Yeah, really good. Okay, moving on to
Could I ask?
place.
Could I ask a question about the last slide?
Yeah.
So for the inter-district transfers, do we have a number for how many people at the AIA are from out of district?
inter-district transfers,
Or
Mr.
inter-district, sorry.
Alexander? Most of them were resident students. Yeah, I think 2 or 3, Jonah.
Yeah, that'd be great.
But those numbers would be included in total inter-district transfer enrollment, which
Yeah.
we didn't parcel out by school.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, find your place.
Yeah.
This is.
Oh.
Place is, there's the presentation.
So this presentation is twofold. I think it really the goal was to demonstrate the four high school educational diploma track options that our students have, with the fifth being encompassed into our Annalee and Laguna programs, that full-time independent study option. But truly, we have 4 schools now within our district, and I've given Chuck a lot of credit for saying, I hope you find your place within our district, within our school. And we've really gleaned on that in terms of a statement, a marketing statement. We believe we have something for everyone. And I think that as the educational interests evolve over time, it's important for us to stay ahead of that trend and ensure that we're offering something for all students. So find your place. It's a brief overview of each program and what student may want to attend each of our different unique schools. And then we have a budget breakdown, because I think it's important to know what it costs to run these programs. Then there's more detail within the academy, because it's obviously a new school startup. So these points are on our infographic, and we worked collectively with our cabinet and site administrators, as well as input from the board. How do we ensure that we really capture, the main things that each school has to offer? Next slide, please. So just a little bit more information about each school, a little history, and then specifically for the type of student who's looking for a traditional high school experience or college preparation. Specifically, Annalee prefers more structure to their day and teacher-led instruction, seeking a variety of academic and elective course offerings, is comfortable with the standardized instruction and pace or school experience. Next slide, please. So what does running a comprehensive high school cost? About $17 million. And I'll let Andrew speak to some of the specifics in these particular pie charts regarding expenditures.
So when we look at Annalee High School, we took that as a whole cost center in business terms, I guess, if you will, and looking at what it actually is, all the money that's being spent there. This is representative of all costs, salary, utilities, supplies that are provided throughout the various resources of money that are provided. This does not include special education costs and related to the direct special education cost resource 6,500 special education. So then that's noted down below in another slide of what the overall cost for special education is related to each school site. So that's kind of the pie chart of where that almost $17 million to operate the Annalee Cost Center is.
Thank you, Andrew. Next slide, please. We also wanted to show utilities costs at all sites and broken down there for you. So you've got, your water, your phone, your sewer. What's that next one? Natural gas. Thank you.
All those services, garbage, etc.
So about $400,000 for utilities costs to operate the Annalee High School campus. Now, this is pretty unique, right? We've created a community school model on this campus. We've rebranded it as the El Molino campus. We have amazing partnerships with public entities that support the community as well as the schools. And we've co-located 2 high schools on this campus. So with that comes some shared expenses and some site school-specific expenses. So we'll go into some detail here. And for those of you who really want to dig deep into each budget line, we've attached those budgets to this item. Shared campus staff, which obviously was a part of the vision of creating the academy and a community school model to best utilize staffing and resources. And last year in the adopted budget, Andrew had budgeted those positions by percentage. So the total cost of shared staff, not all staff, on the El Molino campus is $870,000 and $55. And the way that it's been budgeted is as such. So you can see the 70-30 is 70% Laguna, 30% Annalee, and so on and so forth. Sorry, AIA, thank you, all the way down the line, where campus supervisors 50-50, custodians 50-50, grounds 100%. Now, mind you, those positions would be in existence regardless of the creation of the academy. I want to make that clear. And then you can see the percentage in the pie chart and how it's broken down. And the grounds at 100% is not charged or budgeted to the site. It's charged to the campus. Andrew, can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, so as we look at how we track the costs in the various cost centers or by schools, we look at the El Molino campus and break that out into what is that person doing serving the just kind of the outer perimeter of the grounds. So that's really not charged to a school, that's charged to the cost center of the El Molino campus. And then custodian 50-50, being that they're just across all over serving the school regardless of, I only don't do just 30%. We don't know kind of what they could be spending multiple hours over on the Annalee side or AIA side or Laguna side. So it's just kind of, we don't know where those hours are. We just kind of split them in half and say they're going to serve where they're going. And then the 70-30 split is really based off of, we have X amount of students that are Laguna, X amount of students that are AIA, and just divided it that way. And then next year that'll change as additional enrollments increase.
Next slide, please. This is pretty cool. This campus is lit up and used by not only our students, but obviously our community. You probably saw all the youth sports folks that were out here when we started the meeting. I think this also speaks to why we budget the grounds just as site, because it's not just, we don't just use this campus for academics. We use it for community events and purposes as well. So shared 18.6. That's the two schools. Laguna is using the 16.9% of the entire campus. And I do want to give a shout out to Jenny for helping us with this. This is data that she tracks in terms of the usage across all district facilities. But I thought this was really, really cool. 6.8% of the campus is being used by AIA. 10.2% of the campus is still being used by Annalee High School. 28%, almost 30% of the campus is still unused. That will continue to shrink as we further expand our programs and partnerships with community. And then, just very thankful for our partnerships and lease agreements with these public entities. Obviously, Maker Ed, big thanks to Dale Doherty, the SELPA, Regional Parks, and the Sonoma County Library that's been here for years. In addition, it's not noted here because they're all across the campus is our West County Health Partners. We have a health hub that serves all students on this campus and community members. So I thought this was interesting data to look at. And, thanks to our taxpayers and our board for approving the projects, we put a lot of money into this campus. This is a tremendous community resource and district resource that we want to keep live and thriving with different opportunities for people. Next slide. Utilities costs, there's a breakdown for you. You can see it. For those in the back, I can go through it if need be. 46% for electricity, 9.2% for water, 5% for waste, security, 0.9%. Got to have secure campus times when there's things going on. Phone, 7%, sewer, almost 20, natural gas, 11. But look at the cost there. It's big thanks to our solar panels. So We don't foresee a significant increase to utilities based on the new school being here. We will analyze that. The cycle runs by the month, and obviously we started mid-month. So Andrew and I wanted to share that with you just to see if there was any increase in utilities, but we think it'll be very small, minimal, if anything. So next slide, please. Here's the lease agreements. We generate $63,000 a year annually with our lease agreement. So that's revenues into the district. And again, we love these partnerships. It aligns with the community school model and provides services to students and staff in the community. Next slide, please. Laguna High School. Again, branding, that's one of the big opportunities that we have. We've talked about this. Lewis has said this, 39 million almost now dollar district budget because of the expansion of the consortium. And we'd yet to put any money in budgeting towards marketing and communication efforts. So just an overview of the Laguna program. Next slide, please. A little more history, who's it's intended to serve. Next slide, please. Laguna High School expenditures. Pushing close to $1.2 million, the breakdown there. I'll let Andrew speak to the specifics, if you will.
Yeah, so this is taking what is actually being charged to the Laguna High School cost center, if you will, and that 70-30 split, in particularly to administration and then the supports there in the office. So that's the adjustments there that you're seeing.
And just to be clear, what he referenced there was that 70-30 split. So if it was 100% and we didn't have that shared staff opportunity to serve two schools, the cost of operating a Laguna High School would far exceed any opportunities to generate revenues. It's a very expensive program to run, but it's something that we're invested in. And I wanted to ensure that, the board and the public understands what it costs to provide our amazing continuation high school experience for students. Academy of Innovative Arts. Again, referencing our infographic. Next slide. A little bit more information for the student who. Similar to the Laguna slide, this shows the overall expenditures at the Academy of Innovative Arts, including the percentage breakdown for the shared costs. I'll let Andrew kind of speak to that more too.
Yeah, so if we just, again, that 30% of those shared administrative costs are part of this budget. The special education costs, again, are separated out as we look at special education as its own cost center function. So we see how that's broken down of that $590,000.
Next slide, please. So let's unpack that a bit in terms of, the financial breakdown of the Academy expenditures. So we tried to show you the real dollar amounts. You'll see a higher amount for total staff expenditures than what was budgeted when you take the exact percentages and dollar amounts for each of the shared positions. Andrew, do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, as we look at that, the other was the budget. This is really looking at what the actual people are and to how they're kind of broken up into those cost centers. So this is the actual people working in those positions and what those percentages are. The other is budget that includes extra time, sick leave, hours, pays for subs, etc.
So we wanted to ensure for transparency purposes to show you all costs associated, but what's in the box are new costs. And I have some more information to add to that. But obviously we didn't hit our target of 30 students. Enrollment was budgeted at 95%. I would like to note that they're trending the last month and a half at 97%. And the revenues expected through LCFF ADA is $266,000. 2.2 FTE certificated teachers are what's serving our academy students. And I would like to also note that the net reduction of 1.0 at Laguna and the addition of 2.0 at AIA was a true increase of only 1 FTE on the Emelino campus. 1.2 including SPED case management. And let me tell you more about that. Through the enrollment process, we identified the need for case management. The academy is a full inclusion model. So case management in terms of supporting, the IEP processes. We did reduce 1.0 FTE at Annalee High School for RSP in the spring. What we analyzed was the continuing influx of interdistrict transfer requests for student with IEPs. We had about 16 students. We were already above our threshold of 23 max per the caseload for case managers' caseloads. So we knew that there was going to be the need for 0.2 FTE for case management for the academy. So we got creative and we looked at that list of 16 students that we wouldn't have been able to attend or take into the district, revenues, supports, opportunities. So we recreated a position that is 20% case management at the academy, 80% resource at Annalee. We were able to take 9 students off that waiting list. So that position essentially paid for itself with new enrollments and new revenues. Otherwise, we would have had to look at like a 1.2 for a teacher that had the capacity to case manage for those students. So we're really, really proud of the creativity there and the opportunity to support more students in the Annalee experience, as well as provide the resources needed. Let me log back in. There we go. What else do I want to note on that?
What's in the box?
Yeah, so I stopped at 2.2 FTE for certificated teachers. That cost exactly is $374,000, 574. So obviously, if we were just looking at, is that solvent with our revenues? It's not, right? Net loss before contributions. But I want to give a big thanks, and you'll see the detail on this in another slide, to Dale for his partnership, and through our lease agreement and the Maker Ed contributions, that has been forecasted to equal around $166,000 by the end of the year. And when I talked to Dale about this presentation and wanting to include that data, Dale reminded me that's not a one-time expense. That number may change, but Dale's committed to seeing this program through, and it is truly a part of the strategic model and how we created a startup school at minimal cost to the district. So we look at that. There's a net revenue after the contributions of $57,000. Next slide.
Chris, can I make one comment on that slide?
Please, yeah, please.
I think one thing that is important to point out, especially when you look at that breakdown of the 30% principal, 30% counselor, 30% outreach, and so forth, from an HR standpoint, to try to start a new school and have to hire all of those positions, you're not going to go hire a 30% principal. It's just not going to be out there, especially of the quality of Greg. For us to already have that position in place, we were going to be paying for that no matter what. Now to be able to have him and all of that other amazing staff that you see listed there by title, serving, including the full wraparound health hub services that are there. It's almost unprecedented to be able to start a school that currently has 20 students, but still be able to offer all of those wraparound services with counseling, outreach therapist, wellness services, and so forth. So I think that's one of the really unique aspects of this 2 schools on the Emelino campus model that really puts us in a great spot moving forward.
For the next year, like, do we expect, I mean, I'm sure we've seen at some point, but do we expect those to change? Or
The percentage would change because the target number at this point, and it would be to recruit 60 incoming students. And so then we would look at those numbers and adjust. The total amount wouldn't change necessarily. I mean, we're still going to have a full-time principal, a full-time counselor, a full-time outreach therapist. The breakdown as to how much of that cost is borne by Laguna and how much of that cost is borne by the academy is what will change.
Right. Next slide, please. I think it's also noteworthy that we spent less than $20,000 of district money in startup costs. And that's the breakdown. Again, when you have a $100 million campus, when you have an existing program, when you have these partnerships, when you have generous community members that are passionate about creating unique and different opportunities, something that's unique to Sonoma County. We want this to be the gold standard for non-comprehensive innovative programs. That's the breakdown of district expenditures for startup costs. A breakdown, again, thank you, Dale, for providing this information. 54.2% for Maker Ed staffing. As you're aware, with Dale's nonprofit, he can hire his own employees. The vision there is to then ultimately create the Maker Hub, which would then be an asset to community members, to a library, opportunities for business owners to use the space as well. Right now, it's primarily for student use, and you heard us, our students talk about it, our principal talk about it. Laguna and Academy students are benefiting from the Makerspace and opportunities and teachers for project-based learning. And essentially, that's a shop steward, shop manager that understands the equipment and can teach folks how to engage with it. Then you can see the breakdown, first 2 years of lease agreement rent, equipment, electrical repairs, paint, capital improvements, materials. So if you haven't visited the space, it looks amazing. Once we have our new building, the lease agreement will then expand into the construction space, and that'll be elite as well and provide opportunities.
Chris, can I comment on that as well?
Please.
I want to really reinforce that point about the staffing in the makerspace or in the innovative arts space. I had the really good fortune over the years in my time at the county office of helping schools and districts set up some pretty amazing spaces. What most of them never had was staffing in that space. And inevitably, what unfortunately often happened was the spaces set empty or were very much underutilized. Whenever I'm here, seeing Marty and his ability to work with not only the academy staff, but the Laguna staff and students, small group, one-on-one, whole class, it is what will make the difference completely. The stuff is great. The staff is what matters. So thank you, Dale.
And we hope that this leads to a trickle-down effect. You'll hear Dale talk about wanting to create an opportunity for teachers from our partner districts to learn how to create PBL opportunities and STEM opportunities within those schools. So, yeah, please.
I've been here twice now. One time was showing around the Sebastopol Sunrise Rotary folks, and another time visiting the
Maker Camp.
No, not the Maker Camp. I was visiting the
Closet.
Closet. Thank you.
I knew.
Sorry. Wasn't coming out of my mouth. Anyway, so they wandered over to the Makerspace. Both times, one time there was just one student in there working with Marty, and they were working on some project, and they had come from Laguna and been released to do so. And then the other time he had 3 students from the academy that were working on some project, and it was wonderful. They pretty much ignored me and just let me, look around and watch what they were doing. And he was working one-on-one with these kids and working on projects. And it was quite moving to just see what these kids were thinking and doing and planning. It was pretty awesome.
Next slide, please. West County Eye Academy. I think, we obviously identified the need for more seats for independent study. I think this was a really good move. Jane Mays is phenomenal. We are going to brand and market the heck out of this. Majority of the enrollments, we have 90 seats currently with a 1.0 position. The majority of the seats were filled internally. But the good thing is that at least those students didn't leave. Last year, I think we got into the 80 range of that 90. The hope is that while we need to preserve spaces for in-district resident students or students currently attending, that we want to draw students from outside our district boundaries. I think there's incredible revenue opportunities and really opportunities for families that sometimes pay tuition to send their students to different independent study offering or programs. Next slide, please. So a little bit more about that, that particular program. And again, as And next slide, please. As I mentioned, that these are included in the Annalee and Laguna budgets. But if you look at the cost of this program and the service we're providing, think about the revenue potential. I think there's opportunities to expand the FTE. You know, we have specific contract language around how many students can be served in any given section. I think there's also opportunities to consider going out and getting another CDS code if the demand continues to increase for independent study programs. So we'll keep you posted on that. It's something I'm paying close attention to. And last slide, and I'm going to kick this directly to our CBO, but this is special education district-wide.
Yeah, so we just take the whole district special education resource, 6,500 resource, and right now it's at $6.4 million of what that cost is to serve our students in special education. You see the breakdown. 17.9% of the special education budget is for non-public schools. 12.1% of that is for residential placements. Other services are for other non-public agencies or additional services that we need to take into consideration in providing the students with what they need through their IEP. And then the Annalee certificated staff, almost 25%. Classified staff for Annalee, 16%. District office operation, salary and benefits, 6% of that $6.4 million budget. And we receive about 1.1 million in district revenue that comes in through the SELPA to support that. And the remaining is a contribution from the general ed budget, and that's over what's a contribution, almost $5.3 million.
So we really only get a kickback of a little over $1 million. Yeah.
And if I may add, that should disturb people that we are not getting the money that we were actually promised by the federal government, which was supposed to be 40% of our special education. They pay about, I don't know, 8% maybe. And the state obviously isn't really helping us with that either.
It's going to get worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to entertain any questions. Again, this presentation will follow with with Jessica's strategic marketing plan. What are we going to do about this? We're going to continue to grow these programs, invest in our students and in our staff and in our community. We're going to continue to evolve these programs. We're going to continue to think strategically and with fiduciary responsibilities at the forefront. Very creative leaders that we have within our buildings and amazing staff. We got to market this. So any questions?
Comment.
Sir.
So this is really inspiring. And I think I'm going to start by just talking about these little cards. This really gives clarity to the fact that it's like find your place. We have 4 very different options for 4 different kinds of students within our district, and we're building them and growing them. But the other piece is about innovation. We heard a lot about innovation from Chuck and Greg earlier. And, I think as Chris mentioned, we're a $39 million a year organization with no R&D budget and no marketing budget. That's crazy. And the R&D part is, how do we figure out what a high school needs to look like in 5 or 10 or God forbid 20 years? It's not going to be like it is now. The impact of AIA is unknown, but huge.
AI.
Thank you. GPT said, you just misnamed me. Yeah, the impact of AI is monumental and still unknown, but already we know that college students graduating with a computer science degree are having a harder time finding work because coding has gone to the AI. We need to try stuff, and the Academy is our laboratory to see what project-based learning can really look like in this district and what it can be like. I have no magic crystal ball, but I'm going to say 5 or 10 years from now, 50% of our students may be in a project-based learning type environment rather than a traditional college prep environment, because that's what they may need. Where high schools are teaching to the A through G because it's what the universities require, the colleges require. But why are they requiring that? And are they really looking at, is that really useful 5 years from now? And so we don't want to just be lockstep to A through G when really we need to teach kids how to think creatively and make things and work collaboratively and figure stuff out, which is really more project-based. So the board, I think, has been really supportive. We green-lighted this, what, 2 years ago now, when we first started talking about creating a
My
project-based-
first year was the direction
So
to
3
create the
years,
design team. Yeah.
the board said, yeah, let's do this. And thank you to the board for having that kind of vision. And we've been really pretty much in agreement around this. And I think it's really cool that we can do that. And it's not going to work perfectly, and it may not make, I'm surprised that we can even show a small number in the black, thanks to Dale. But even so, regardless of that, let's say it lost $150,000 in the first year. I don't care. It's a tiny investment to make in what may be a really, really important new initiative about how we educate. So it's worth it. It's our R&D. So let's keep doing that, and let's keep innovating and trying stuff, and let's try cohorts, and we'll figure that out. It may not work perfectly and the schedules may be hard. That's all right. We really are advocating for this kind of creative thinking around how do we educate our young people for a world that's coming at them really fast that no one knows what it's going to be. That's my 2 cents.
So thank you, Louis, for your comments on that. And you were so correct when you talk about innovation, how very important it is. And I want to thank both Chuck and Greg for their innovative schemes that they've been working on, because I really believe it's going to make a difference in what it is that we do and what it is that our students do. One thing I wanted to add about what you said about university and colleges and A through G, we must remember that colleges are businesses and it's their job to make money, and it's not their job to educate. So therein lies part of the problem, and they probably really, I never mind, I won't make that statement. It's okay. But thank you. And thank you, Louis, for your comment about the previous board and the work that we did to actually push Chris. I mean, we talked to him in his interview that, well, how are you going to help us do this? Because we were damn straight that we were going to make that happen and make alternatives for our students, because they really need alternatives. We need a place. Every child needs to find their place. And it's not always in a structured environment like Anley High School. And it's not always the continuation high school situation model. And it's not always independent study. But we've given them all those options, and having the academy now working. I have to tell you, I was so intrigued by a freshman that sat here and spoke to us. What an eloquent young lady. And I suspect that we have quite a few in our academy that actually are like her. So thank you, Greg, for finding her and bringing her to us. And that's just amazing. Anyway, thank you, Chris, very much. And Jessica, very much for putting this together. It was quite amazing to see it all broken down. And I, for one, really, really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yep, Jenny.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah. Other comments for anybody? Yeah. Okay, Mia, did you want to speak to Find Your Place?
First, I just want to say thank you for putting this report together. It answered almost all my questions. I do just have one question, and I don't know if you're going to be able to answer it tonight, but I wanted to know, out of the 20 students that are attending the AIA school, are any of those students out of district? And I must have missed it. There's 2?
I think there's 3. Five. Awesome. 5.
Okay. All right. Thanks. That's all.
Thank you, Mia. All right. Moving on, presentation regarding strategic marketing. Jessica, I think that's you.
It is. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Cool. Thank you, Jenny. All right. So for the marketing plan, my objectives are to increase student enrollment, build culture and uplifting the community, and recruitment and retention of diverse teachers. And I'll go into these a little bit more in following slides. The current priorities that I have, especially, going into my third, fourth, fourth month here, I think something that's really important to me and that we spoke about in my interview is sharing the story of the district, and doing that by sharing achievements and moments of pride, what sets us apart from other districts, which we've just learned is a lot of things, and then what it's like to be part of the district and the different sites. I'm also trying to maintain a consistent messaging, so to be continuously posting. I have a really chaotic looking calendar where it's kind of something every day on one of the sites somewhere, either the website, the social media, for our district webpage, AIA, Laguna, and Annalee. So trying to build the capacity to post all those things. And then investing in advertising. That is something that we are currently working on, seeing what advertising opportunities there are available to us. Next slide, please. My long-term goals would be kind of to analyze the systems and procedures. So for example, the best time of day to either post on social media or send out our newsletter. I've noticed that what to me seems like a lot of people opening the newsletter, it's actually a fraction of people receiving it. And so we in the past have sent it in the afternoons, and in October we are going to be trying sending it out in the morning and see how that influences the number of opens for the newsletter. So those are the kinds of things I'm trying to analyze and see what's going to land best and get more eyes in front of it. And continuing to develop campus relationships. That's really important in terms of just knowing what's going on campus. I don't know what I don't know. And so I'm trying to build those relationships to get invited or know what's going on the campuses. Increasing access to information. So that's the next 2 web page redesign are kind of similar in the sense that we want to make sure that people are able to find what they're looking for on the website. And so making sure that they're located in places that are logical, organized in a way that it's easy to find. And that's a huge, a huge undertaking. But I think I think we can do it. And then start using other social media apps. We currently have Facebook and Instagram. And I know a lot of kids are on TikTok. And so trying to, I did create a TikTok account for the district. I haven't posted anything, but I know that the students are on there. So to be able to get like student created videos in front of other kids, I think could be a great strategy as well. Next slide, please. So this is the newsletter. On the back end on Thrillshare, you can see the analytics. And like I said, 324 page visits, that's something. And it is also, again, a fraction of the number of people receiving the newsletter. And we started using Thrillshare for creating the newsletter because we can get these analytics and see how many people open it, how many people are clicking each of the links that are included. And so I think that that's valuable information for us to have. Next slide. I have also set up a newsletter like archive page. The way it's set up on Thrillshare, it's just like a web page that is created that the newsletter is on. And so I wanted to have a place where they all are housed. And so on the district webpage in the top, next to all the board links is the newsletter link. And there is where you will find previous newsletters and the current one. So the current one is open like that, and then the previous ones will be in an accordion style like organization. And then for advertising opportunities, we have been looking into a variety of local opportunities. We've spoken to the Press Democrat about sponsored content on their website. So that is targeted kind of advertising. And included in that is a social media boost on both the Press Democrat's Instagram and Facebook. So when you're on Instagram and you'll see like a sponsored post, it comes up. You might not even follow the Press Democrat, and it'll come up and there's a link that says like learn more or something like that. That is what those social boosts would look like, as well as on their Sonoma Magazine Instagram and Facebook page. And that cost is $3,074. In speaking with them, our hope is to get something out mid-October. The plan was to have something before the showcase nights so that we can advertise those as like the call to action for people to get to know our programs. And the sponsored content exists forever, right? I'm trying to remember the various conversations we had, but I think this, it would run for a month as an ad on all of these different, yeah. So, it'd be interesting, and I believe there is a way for us to see the analytics on that. They can share that information with us so we can see how many people it is reaching. And then we have talked to Radio Amaturo Sonoma Media Group. So they don't only do radio advertising, but they also do digital advertisements. So if you go to any web page, even the Press Democrat, you will see ads for Oliver's, or that was one I saw recently. I can't remember any of the other ones, but those are just paid advertising spots on websites. So that's how the website earns their money, is for those advertising spots. And so they have provided us with a couple of different proposals that can combine a lot of things, and I can get into that more. And then again, they would give us a data dashboard for their digital ads. So again, we can see how many people are clicking those links. Yep, I'm going to touch on that. So it's not included on here, and it's included in the proposals. But another thing that they do are email blasts. So think about the spam emails that you get, or, when you're on an email list for something and you get notified about a sale, or I don't know, something that's up and coming from a clothing brand that you've purchased from before. So it would be something like that. And it would be sent out to, I can't remember, I think it'll say here how many it would send out to. So that would be the initial email blast. And then if somebody opened the email and maybe looked at it and then deleted it, they will then get a follow-up email, kind of like when the email you get from a clothing brand is like, oh, there's something still in your cart. So it'll be a reminder to say, oh, you looked at this email and learned about this school district. Maybe you need to take another look at it. So that would likely be fewer people than the original email blast, but it'll target the people who seemed to be interested the first time around. And the range is from, with the proposals that we received, from $10,000 to almost $13,500. And okay, it's kind of small, so I need to zoom in on my end too. So it's kind of like a buffet of options in the sense that there could be a number of 60-second ads, 30-second radio ads, 15-second radio ads. So you can kind of mix and match what you want. The first proposal they gave us is 106 60-second ads. And then the email blast sending to 40,000 recipients. And then and that cost includes the creative, so the content that's being emailed out, as well as the redeploy, so sending it a second time around. And then the targeted display are those digital ads that I mentioned that you would see on a website. And that shows that would have 100,000 impressions. So it would get in front of 100,000 people. For the second option, that would be 110 30-second ads and 200 15-second ads, with, again, 40,000 in-market email blast, and then the same 100,000 impressions for the digital advertising. And then the final one is 215-second commercials, and then the rest is the same. So and we could also do like a video. The video could be part of the digital advertising as well. So there's kind of a buffet of options, and we could really make it what we wanted to. And this was just, the representative just kind of gave us an idea of what could be possible with what they offer. And next slide. So this is also the draft scripts for the radio ads that we were given. And it shows you, I think the ones on the left are the 30-second ads, and then on the right are the 15-second ads. Just based on our conversations with her, she created these based off of the things we thought would be fun to highlight, the unique programs that are offered at each of our sites. And I think for a first draft, we were very impressed. And we are going to go back to her with our feedback, but this is something that we are continuously exploring, and we're excited for the possibilities. And that's it from me. Thank you.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Are you thinking of posting on TikTok?
Yes, and I have not done it yet. I mentioned it to the AIA students. I'm working with them to do some promotional videos, and they seemed to be very excited about it because it seems as if they are very active on TikTok. So I think if I did, I would really benefit from the students' support. And so yeah, that's something I'm definitely thinking about. It's more so
Leadership's been doing some posting, so.
leadership
I
is
mean, the
very,
problem is
yeah.
the kids are on it way too much. That's a whole other topic, but
Yeah.
anyway, I would encourage that channel because students can pull enrollment through their parents. It's not just advertising to parents saying you should
Mhm.
bring. It's kids saying, I want to go here, mom and dad, and they're gonna go, okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
other thing is that you know, like I've said before, we're this big organization with up until now really no real clear sales and marketing. We get $14,000 a year per student in revenue. It would be good if we, as we do some of these kind of things, if we can track back. It's hard to, but if you could ever tie these 3 enrollments are because we did this advertising, we can easily then we can begin to justify, and we can say, well, next year should we spend twice as much because we should get 8 students instead of 4.
Yeah.
Is that
That's
possible?
something that we've been talking about in terms of as we are, getting the interdistrict transfers for next academic year. They're already rolling in, but kind of sending out a survey of sorts to understand, where the families learned about the school, whether that's word of mouth, whether that's being just someone local and knowing about the district or from any of the advertising efforts. And so that is something that we are planning to do.
Yeah, I would say from the board's fiscal point of view, to the extent that you can link marketing expense to
Mhm.
enrollments makes it easier for us to say, yeah, we'll increase that budget next year,
Absolutely.
so
Yeah.
there's a loop there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
For sure. Mhm.
And you started to talk about it, but I was kind of wondering about the timing of things. Like what's the deadline for interdistrict transfer applications?
There is no deadline.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Mhm.
So really this could start, there's no there's no timing for when this would maybe start or.
Yeah, I think the timing that we're looking at is specifically around recruitment events to make sure that we're advertising for those at the same time. But yeah, since there's no specific interdistrict transfer season, we're not basing it off of that. Yeah.
Well, actually, it kind of answered my next question.
Okay.
Um,
that we was processing out of Census Day. We expect interdistrict transfers during the year as well.
Okay.
Right before the start of the school year, we had a senior transfer from Sales High School to GPA and boosters. So with the academy, we may have to have some deadlines, like we talked about last year, in terms of waiting lists and capacity, but obviously we're under our target enrollment, so we're going to take that in stride. But as Jessica stated, tying this to the recruitment efforts, our site administrators and staff at the sites got some cool things planned in out with students. Also is that we need to get it out and started early so that we get in front of enrollments and students making selections of their next year's courses, looking at staffing, what are those real numbers that we look at early in January as we start for the next year. So I think that the marketing is key to start basically right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we're kind of trying to map out how we would organize these efforts and when they go out so that it's not, all of them going out at one time and making sure that it was staggered in a sense. And especially thinking about the holidays, right? Like maybe not anything going on in December, but then we start back up again in January when people might be thinking, maybe more seriously about next year. I mean, some parents are already thinking about it, but we are still every now and then, getting an interdistrict transfer for this year. So, it never ends, but being strategic about when we send those out.
Mm. 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 That's helpful, Lily. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks for that context.
Jeannie?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Exploration was obviously the Press Democrat, and that's what we looked at. So we saw the sponsored content ads for Cardinal Newman and Quest Forward Academy. Again, we're exploring all options. Radio would be one component of a partnership with ASMG. So we're not locked into that one, but
So the next agenda item is about the board specifically authorizing
Yeah.
money.
Yep.
So that particular piece, let's hold just till the next item, because we're going to have probably a little discussion about that.
Okay, so you mentioned TikTok and you mentioned students. Please realize that there are a lot of adults that participate in and or view TikToks a lot every day. So students do, yes, but we also have adults that do it. So I just don't want us to forget that. The other thing is, and I did talk to Chris about this earlier, and Jessica, was getting on the air, literally getting bodies into the studio or calling in on the air for a radio. There's so many different groups within our school program. We could get kids from AIA on air or Greg on air. So I really hope that we can pursue that as well. Doesn't cost them anything and doesn't cost us anything. We just have to convince them that we need their help and support. My thought is if we're going to buy some ads from them, then maybe they can help us get on the air, because we could get Heidi on the air talking about CTE. We could get the ag teachers talking about ag programs. There's a million things that we can get on the air to talk about, or upcoming events or things like that. But something for us to remember.
Yeah, and I was actually trying to find the information in terms of how many listeners that these radio stations have, because I don't listen to the radio, but people do. And it says here, in just 1 week, your commercials will reach 137,843 listeners. That's across their 8 stations. But they have Froggy, KZST, Hot 1017, KSRO, and then The River. Like, they have stations all across Sonoma County and that reach into, I believe, almost Novato as well. So it's a pretty big range, and a big reach. What did you ask? Was there something else that you asked me to address? Yes, they recommended Froggy and KZST, I believe, in terms of just, I think those are the 2 biggest stations, and so it would target the most people. Obviously, the more stations you add, the more the price would increase. So, like I said, there's really a million different ways that we could configure a marketing plan with them.
I think it's important that the board sets goals and authorizes budgets, but that we have to be careful not getting too down in the weeds ourselves with like which radio station or not radio or, I mean, it's very tempting because we all have opinions. I have opinions. But I think we need to give staff guidance and money, and then you need to measure what you're doing so you can come back to us and tell us what worked. Try it. Who knows? Radio may be great, but give it a try and measure it and get back to us in, I don't know, 3 months, and we'll see. If that doesn't work, we'll try something else. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I agree with you, Louis. I do have a question though.
Go for it.
Have you looked at any like advertising on Spotify or like where podcasts are, because I mean, I agree with you, and I say give it a shot. And there's probably a lot of commuting parents that still listen to the radio. But to Dale's point, like kids aren't listening to the radio, but they do listen to podcasts and they do listen to Spotify, and I'm probably a handful of other things that I have no idea even exist. But YouTube, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. We have not looked into that yet. And that is very much something we can look into, and YouTube. I would also like to add, and I didn't put this in the presentation, but there's also, we can run ads ourselves on social media, on Facebook and Instagram as well. And that can be, I could start it by like putting in $40 and it would reach maybe like, I don't have the exact numbers, but 100 people, and see, what that does. So that could be an experiment to see, small cost to see how effective it is. So that's also an opportunity to get out to, folks that are already following us, or I think Facebook is a really interesting place, like Facebook groups. I know that my my sister's a parent and is part of like parent Facebook groups, and I feel like those have a lot of influence. And so there's a lot of options, a lot of things we could try and see how they work.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I do want to plus on Louis and on what Sean said as well with the ads, with the more digitally focused ones. I think that's good, and what Louis said as well with the social media, like media stuff as well. In terms of being able to track things, especially if it's an ad, just like if you have a landing page and have your analytics on our web site as well, you can get a lot of stuff there, including actual like conversions to signing up for a or downloading a form for an district transfer. I don't know exactly if it's a form or something like that, but also having that sort of stuff for when you do the website, like redesign as well, is going to be what you're going to need to do. So it's not just, well, I think that people are trying to find this, but you actually have the data there to back it up. Those are ways to ensure that you actually get the results and things like that. Because to Louis's point of being able to come back and say, like, like what we got from, it's like the spend goes a long ways.
Anything else from the board on the marketing plan in general before we move on? And then Mia, do you still want to comment? Great, thank you. Okay, moving on. The next item is an approval for the district marketing budget. So we need a motion. Anybody want to move that we approve the marketing budget?
So moved.
Or a second? Okay.
So I just want to also reiterate that while we've brought forward 2 options that we've been exploring, I think it was really great to hear the feedback and suggestions from the board as well as the community, this is just scratching the surface. We're not saying these are the only options that we're going to explore or may choose. So, as Jessica mentioned, she's going on 4 months into the position. There's a lot of hats that we all wear, but I welcome the feedback from the board, the staff, the community. I think that input is important. We want to stay on the cutting edge. We want to explore. And when we do spend money, we want to spend it in the way that's going to make the greatest impact. And I do also appreciate the feedback regarding analytics and tracking. As Lewis mentioned, and I was going to say this, every student is $14,000. So if the board allocates $15,000 and we get one new student, we darn near paid for itself. So Jessica's done a phenomenal job with the data analytics that she has at her fingertips with ThrillShare and Parent Square. We're going to do the same thing with anything that we can do moving forward. And in my discussion with Lewis, as you mentioned, we're not asking the board to approve these contracts. We put them in this item and in the item Jessica just presented, so you can see the work that we're doing, exploring uncharted territories for this district. So we think, and what I proposed is 15,000 in terms of a modest ask. With that, we could do things like the PD sponsored content and a small package with ASMG, maybe focusing more on the digital media side than the radio ad side, but I think there's some value to explore both. But we're going to continue to work on this. So I'm going to kick it to the board. That was our initial proposal, just being modest.
Comments?
We have to spend money to make money. And you've said it all along, Lewis. We have a $39 million budget and we don't have any and have not done any marketing for over 20 some odd years. So we need to do something. And so I'm all for it.
Linda, do you want to say something?
Yes, I agree. I mean, I thought last year with the AIA, if we would have had some kind of advertising, we would have gotten more kids. I mean, it was just one of those things that we just haven't done, and everything is digital now. You're so right. I mean, it is important that we get out there and compete with Cardinal Newmans and all those other ones, and we're better than they are. So there. So go for it.
And I saw you post on TikTok. I saw it. Is 15,000 enough to really even test what we need to know? And
I think we demonstrated what we could get with $15,000. We can get a month PD sponsored content. We could get one of the more modest packages with ASMG. So again, transparency was important for us. I mean, this is, obviously the board authorizes us to make decisions, and, we could have gone in contract. These are with, well below certain thresholds in terms of board approval, but for community and transparency and for the board, that's what we asked. But obviously you get what you pay for. So with that said, we could do 2 campaigns similar to the ones that we presented or the ones we presented with 15 grand. I think, but that's some direction we're looking for from the board.
if you had $15,000, how quickly could you deploy it and get results so that we could decide whether to re-up? Is it?
I think
months,
the
6
PD,
months?
no, I think the PD contract, the goal would be that they get the article out within the next week or two, ahead of, it'd have to be the next week to get ahead of showcase day, but we've talked to them about those deadlines, and what they could do with that is if it gets out and hits the Press Democrat prior to the 22nd and 23rd for the 2 events that we have planned, great, right? Then hopefully it draws more folks to those events. Then they go in and edit it and add new content for the duration of that contract. ASMG could hit the radio as soon as we get into the station to record some of those scripts. Got some cool ideas if we pursue that, maybe one that's district voice, my voice, talking about all programs, and then our site administrators, maybe some of our teachers, students. I know that I talked to Heidi. I think it'd be great to have Heidi talk about our CTE programs and future readiness opportunities. And there's so many different options for us. So I think really it's how much do we feel comfortable? And Andrew, feel free to weigh in if you've got an opinion here. I know we've been really trying to, monitor expenditures and help to resolve that structural deficit while also doing business that needs to be done. So.
No, I think that's what it is of tracking where are the students coming from? How do they hear about us? What is that return on investment? And if we do get the 1 to 2 students from that, that's showing that return on investment. At least you're breaking even, if not, getting more students. And we really need to understand, how did you hear about us? Was this worth our investment? But we are going to have to try something. And what that something is what we're asking.
Yeah, and it's like I kind of think that that's where you get into those slugs or pages and about where it goes to where you can really, that's where you hear on each of those things. They're like, WSC, USD. I mean, that would be a little tough, / whatever, right? And then if you get those analytics there from that page, then you can tell it came from X or it came from Y, and that's quite helpful. I kind of agree too with Lewis's thing where it's like, I don't know, it's hard for us to say, well, you should do X because everyone has an opinion about the things that they want to do. And that's, it's kind of, a bit of guidance and trust to do the right thing or to do what you think's best. And then we see how it works. So
I think we're curious. We want to try a few different options.
That's what I was going to say. I said, let's be curious and try, try some of the Facebook stuff and see if it works. Continue with your Instagram and TikTok and all of that and see how, if that helps. I really think that we're going to see some real impact from those, especially because that's where everybody is. That's what they're watching. Although somebody, the comment was made about radio, not a lot of people listen to it. A lot of teens listen to Froggy if they're into country music. A lot of them.
Well, and
isn't any other place to go.
I will share that the rep, and obviously she's a rep, she's trying to sell us a product, talked about Petaluma City Schools was most recently the district with high schools that partnered and purchased some packages, and the email blasts and the social media piece was huge. I don't remember exactly what Petaluma did in terms of radio spots, but Sean, I think we're going to get right on that. Jessica and I are going to talk about streaming options. That's been something we've thought about. We just have yet to look into it. And we know many people do stream, and that's their main source of radio when they're driving. But there is still some, I still listen to the radio, especially when I hit these back roads and I can't stream, right? I got to turn on Froggy.
I have a proposal. See if this stick. What if we authorize $20,000 and we consider it a pilot program? Like the intention is it works, or we learn what doesn't work, fine. And that we authorize some more, I can see it's working in a couple months or so, but give them something to start. So that's my proposal, 20K.
I think that they asked for 15. So if they can do great things with that, then I'm more up for that.
To hold it to 15.
Yeah, well, that's what they asked for.
It's 15, see how it goes.
That's fine by me.
You can always come back next month.
Yeah, soon, if it works, or if you learn what doesn't work, that's good too. So what do we think? 15? Go 15, try it, come back. Rio, you good with that? Linda? Yeah.
I think 15 to start with. And honestly, if you find something super exciting that I get that we need to move fast on this. So the quicker we can do it, the better. And if we, I don't know if you can poll us or something, but see if we can have that for you if you need it, but yeah.
No, I think that's fair. I think that's why we propose 15. I think that gives us an opportunity. These two contracts are ready to rock and roll. We had some great feedback. If we do go with ASMG, I think we can tweak it based on that. I think then we can continue to explore other contract options, bring them back, present what it looks like, and ask the board for authorization to go through that. Again, we're trying to be extremely transparent. We do a lot of purchasing and handle business because we're afforded that authority by the board. down from myself and cabinet to the sites, but I think this is one that we want to continue having conversations and authorization here. So I think that that's fair. Yeah.
Can I make a quick comment?
Sure.
There'd be a really great opportunity as we open the new CTE building to have a marketing budget identified for an event. And I know we're a minute away from that, but we all know it's going to be January and then it's going to be June, right before we all know it. But that is a really great opportunity for us to showcase some amazing facilities with our amazing teachers who are doing pretty incredible things. And so, while it is a minute out, it will be built and will be opening in fall of 26. So it's another way to target students to come to our facilities. Montgomery just had an open house. I went to their open house and they had a taco truck and there were hundreds of people there taking tours of the facility. And I'm sure they targeted their entire community, but then they didn't do a bigger outreach to people who might be interested in going to school. So it's an incredible opportunity for us to showcase our programs and maybe attract people who are looking at something different.
It's like something else too. I think that it is good to do as well, right? Is the earned press is like as well. So, I mean, hopefully we can have more chances of getting those and getting the free press with articles for things like that as well. If we can do the press releases and try to get, that out there.
Okay, I think we need to move on because the meeting's not over yet. Okay, all those in favor of 15,000 authorization with the comment that they should come back to us once they know what they're doing. Okay, great.
Thank you, Lewis.
Check. Yeah, thank you, Jessica. Okay, consideration of approval of an MOU with Cal State University Chancellor's Office. So we need a motion. Okay,
Really excited about this. I was inspired about a month or so. Well, I can talk to the board while you're doing. Oh no, the Zoom just cut out. I see what you're saying.
Are you there, April?
Good evening. I am here and I can hear most of you okay. Sometimes a little bit people are in the background.
So April, I'm going to just give the board a little bit like quick background and then I'm going to kick it to you.
Sounds great.
A month or so ago, I saw an article in the Press Democrat about direct admission for SSU with Napa Unified. So Jessica reached out to the chancellor's office for me. I attended a webinar and then we got a meeting on the books with April and her team. We are super excited about this opportunity for our students, and I'm not going to steal any of her thunder because she's going to explain it all to you, but we are ready to rock and roll, and this would be for this admission season and no cost to the district. I'm going to throw that out there first. April, thank you for being here with us, and take it away.
Great. Good afternoon, everyone, or good evening. So I'm just going to raise a few comments and happy to take any questions. So the direct admissions initiative is something that we piloted last fall with Riverside County Office of Education and their 23 districts. And we saw great results and have expanded the program. And this program is really based on focusing on expanding college access and proactively identifying students that are eligible and meet the admissions requirements for Sonoma State and 15 other CSUs, really helping to eliminate any confusion and encourage more students to pursue a four-year university degree. It also helps students by finding them proactively. One of the things that high school seniors say is that applying to college is one of the most overwhelming things in their life to date. And this really takes the stress out of the process, notifying students that they are eligible to be admitted to 16 CSUs and really help them feel better about navigating higher education and applying to college. I think the other important part of this program is that we're really interested in supporting all students. So this program includes personalized outreach to 3 student groups. So students that meet A through G eligibility, students that are close to meeting A through G, and then those students who can benefit from our Transfer Success Pathway program, which is our dual admissions program, and it's a path for students from community college. The other piece that's really important about this program is it reduces barriers and helps by using the verified academic data in your student information system and in the California Colleges platform. As was already shared, there's no cost to the district. The chancellor's office provides all of the mailers, and then we'll also send a financial aid information to students and families in the February timeframe. And we really believe that based on the results that we're seeing from our Riverside County pilot, that this is really an opportunity to empower students and families with knowledge and options, and to send a message that college is really possible for every student in our state. And I am happy to answer any questions as well.
Sounds great. Question?
April, this is Linda Helton. First, I think this is a wonderful program that you have started, and I can only see it benefiting many students who wouldn't be aware or really have the get up and go and do it. So I thank you for giving us this opportunity for our kids. Thank you.
I think one thing I'll add, April, and I mean, I was so excited when you talked about, you know, the data, once the MOU is approved, the data that you need from the district and how we need to kind of analyze each of the students, 1, 2, 3, and the work that the CSU does on behalf of this partnership to support those families and message those families. I mean, 16 CSUs, guaranteed admission, really supports kids kind of in that. I may not be ready for the UC or prestigious private school, but I have an option post-secondary.
That's great. Thank you.
So can you walk through like how that would be for a student? I mean, I have a senior in high school now. So what does that mean? Assuming
In terms of supporting them or
well,
the
just
admissions
like in
process?
yeah.
I'll
Like
kick
how-
that to April.
Yes, so once we get the MOU signed and the district provides the data file, we will send a proactive mailer to students, and it says, congratulations, you're admitted. We also have a website for those students that meet the eligibility so that if they have any questions or need help, it is out there. The mailer explains to the students the next steps. So what we're encouraging students to do is they still need to launch an application, and they do that through the californiacolleges.edu platform. And that platform allows them to bring over all of their academic history from high school, and it greatly reduces the process and the time to apply. And so we work with your high schools and counselors and districts to make sure that students are going through that process. And then the other nice thing about the California Colleges platform is it lets your high schools and counselors know who has started an application and who has completed an application. And we also work with those students to follow up with them once they start an application. We'll also partner with your high schools and counselors if they need additional support. And then also our team from California College Guidance Initiative that supports the California Colleges platform is also available to support the teams as well. Once the students complete the application, then they will get an automatic admission, and then they'll get a follow-up that they have been admitted to the CSU that they chose. Just to note, students can apply to any CSU, so this doesn't stop them. So for example, if they want to apply to San Diego State or Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, one of our impacted campuses, they can still apply to any of the CSU campuses. But what we're really doing is proactively letting families and students know that they're eligible for 16 CSUs. And we saw a lot of great stories that came out of the pilot with Riverside County, students and families not realizing that they were eligible to attend a four-year university, students who maybe decided not to repeat a class, saying, oh, I'm so close, I'm going to repeat that class so I can get my A through G completion. So it really is something that we're seeing that's making a big difference. And Riverside County is still finalizing their data, but they also saw an increase in their A through G completion that they had not seen in several years. So we're very excited about what we've seen so far, and we are opening it up this year to partner with other districts.
Free help. Who's ever heard of such a thing? That's great.
It's like it's probably somewhere in this stuff, but does it say what the 16 are?
Yes, it does show in the mailer. There is a map of the state of California with all 22 universities on it, and the universities that they are eligible to are starred so that they can see that. And so there's a university throughout the state, the 16, it's throughout the state.
Any other comments, questions?
I just want to say thank you so much, April, and thank you, Chris, for being so proactive about this. This is absolutely amazing. Totally amazing for our students. I sure wish it had been here when I needed it.
All right, shall we approve this MOU? All those in favor?
Aye.
MOU.
Thank you so much, April, for joining us on the Zoom and waiting through our long ed services list of items. So thank you.
No problem. Thank you so much. And we look forward to working with you and your students and your high schools and counselors. We're very excited. Thank you for approving the MOU.
Thank you for everything.
Have a good evening.
Okay, that's really cool. All right, number 6, first reading of recommended revisions from CSBA update. This is the first reading that we're not.
Oh, so
No motion needed.
Yeah.
So, these were a couple policies that, were really related to Jenny's world. So I'm going to kick this to her to kind of explain. Again, it's a first reading, no action required.
So every once in a while we get CSBA policies that don't align with our practices. And this was one instance of policies that didn't align with practice. I think CSBA takes like a generic approach to a lot of things, which is why several times in their policy are like, please confer with legal counsel. So we sent these off to legal counsel to have them review with our practices, along with a lot of the documents that we push out as part of our construction commitments and stuff like that, and our CUPCA process. So these came back with legal's responses, which is why they're attached instead of linked. And we'll clean that up. So I'm happy to answer any specific questions, but that was the reason these took a little longer.
I just wanted to say thanks for the hard work on that because I know it's a lot of work.
All those in favor? No, we don't have to. It's
No
the
vote.
first read. My mistake. Sorry. Okay. Thank you, Jenny, for that. Now we're doing a public hearing on the district's initial proposal for contract negotiations. So we're opening a public hearing. Public hearing is now open. Does anyone have anything from the public they would like to say? Public hearing is now closed. Is that all we need to do?
On that one, yeah.
Yep.
Now we gotta-
Okay, consideration of approval of district's initial proposal for contract negotiations. So this is an approval. Do we have a motion, please?
I so move.
Do we have a second? Okay. This is,
All right, I can jump in there.
please.
So this is an annual event with WSCTA. It's in the contract that it's always done in October or by October. So you'll see on this item, we'll be presenting the district openers, and then the following item is the openers from WSCTA that you heard Brian reference in his report today. I just want to quickly begin by saying we too are very much looking forward to continuing negotiations with both of our bargaining units this year. I can speak for myself. I wasn't, Brian referenced the last few years of very collaborative, productive negotiations. I was just part of those last year, and I will say it was I felt a very positive experience. Chris has referenced, I know many times, how great it is that we're able to do that with just district representation and unit member representation. No lawyers are in the room, and so forth. And we've been able to have very productive, I believe, conversations. I will just say when I go to my large district HR roundtable meetings, that is not the case everywhere. So we definitely applaud our labor partners and love working closely with them in this process. So just to quickly go through, we always open up or always able to open up health and benefit and wages items. And so once again, we'll be doing that. We certainly intend to retain our competitive salary and benefit schedules. I think the product of that last year was that when we had a number of job postings, we had huge numbers of people applying for those positions, which is a great position to be in. And I think that's very reflective. And many of those people, when I onboarded, mentioned that specifically, that when they looked at our salary schedules and our benefit packages, that we are definitely very competitive, and we certainly intend to maintain that. The other couple of items there, the hours are always opened up in terms of looking at the academic calendar for next year. And then we have specifically opened up Article 15. We want to look at some issues around stipends. Some of them have, as time has evolved, some of those stipends are kind of outdated now, and we want to just kind of look through the stipend schedule in Appendix B and review those with our labor partners. And then I'll take any questions on that, but those are the basic articles that the district intends to open.
So basically, we're approving receiving the sunshine letter from the union.
That's the next item. This item, you're approving.
This
the
is
district
our
proposed
district
opener.
openers. So these are the items that we have
ahead. Okay.
indicated.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Aye, thank you. Okay, now we're on consideration of acceptance of openers from WSCTA. And we have as an attachment the 4 items that are.
So we'll have a motion and then.
So moved.
Thank you.
Okay. And I won't belabor this. Brian certainly outlined the WSCTA's articles, but just to recap quickly what those are, along with the regular salary, healthcare benefits, and calendar items, they are opening Article 5, which is the class size article, as well as Article 9, which addresses leaves. And then, as we always do, they'd like to review all current MOUs for consideration of renewal.
Great. Questions, discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Great. Okay. We're in the sunshine. Okay. Consideration of approval of teachers teaching outside of credential areas. We need a motion, please. Second. Sean, thank you.
So this is just as Paula Dillon and I were doing what are called our CalSAS exceptions this year for last year's, we identified one additional teacher that needed a local authorization to teach outside of their credential area. We have a teacher, Adriana Lopez, whose biology credential actually does not naturally allow her to teach the 2 sections of Earth and Space Science. However, she does meet the various requirements necessary under Ed Code 44258.3. So just asking for the local authorization for her to be able to teach those 2 sections.
Questions, comments? All those in favor? Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, facilities maintenance technology. Jenny. Measure A bond and budget just an update. We don't need a motion.
Just an update. Just here to report that the CTE project at Annalee is going well in sections B, C, and D. We've got roof trusses going up. It's been really fun to kind of watch the pitch of the building change and all of it starting to get enclosed. Earlier, I don't even know what month maybe it was last month already. No, last week. We had Clay Pafford's construction class do a tour. They had all their hard hats on, and got to walk through the whole construction site. We had both the owners of GCCI as well as the superintendent on the job there to help answer questions, and we had some really engaged students. Jessica was there to document the whole thing so she could put it on Insta for the kids to see. So that was really fun. We've gotten a couple requests for tours, and we'll continue to do that so that our students can take part in seeing the facilities go in. Also, with the CTE project, we're starting to coordinate for a pretty massive power shutdown of the entire Annalee campus to allow for us to bring our new PG&E service in, which will allow us to power up all of our HVAC equipment in early spring to allow for all of finishes to acclimate to the building. It's a huge, massive undertaking. We're likely going to have to bring in temporary power to keep all the kitchen parts and pieces going and to keep just basic infrastructure like our phones and internet up. So Annalee is the hub. So anytime we turn anything off at Annalee, we turn it off to the whole entire district. So there is a lot of strategic planning. I just sent out that email yesterday warning everybody about that. All summer projects are in closeout mode for the most part, and we're just down to the punch list items and getting the final completion documents and closing those out. Laguna and the AIA signs designs have been finalized and signed off. I processed the requisition to process their deposit check, so those signs will be up soon, hopefully. I know we've all been waiting on them for quite some time. In November, I'll be bringing forward a discussion and an action item with respect to kind of reprioritizing some of our projects, specifically the stadium, the East Wing, as well as a new project here at the El Molino campus. So those would all be targeted for either summer of we're looking at summer of 26 into the school year of 27 and then summer of 27. We're also working on a $9 million CTE grant. Heidi and I have been working with King Consulting. You're familiar with them. They've been here for demographic studies. And that is due December 1st. Heidi has been bearing the brunt of this. I'll be working on it on my vacation next week because it'll be quiet and I can actually get to it. So we're really excited to be able to present that to you, hopefully in November for approval before we apply, if not in December for ratification of already submitting. And again, I know we had people here with respect to the tennis courts. And so we're working on a plan for those sometime in the spring. That's it for me.
Good job, Jenny. Thank you, as always. Oh my God. I think we're done. Any last comments, questions? Boom. 8:35.
That's our longest meeting in a while, but we had a lot of really interesting.
We did.
Good information.